Hello, welcome to another episode of Flying High with Flutter. I'm your host, Alan Wyma, and today we have Ma Bin, who is, I don't know how to even say it. You're kind of in charge of Flutter and some other things with Google. So why don't you go ahead and welcome you to the podcast?
So actually, I want to introduce myself first. So my name is Martin. Actually, I'm a Flutter developer relations engineer, and my main job is to focus on the Flutter development in the China market. So that's the main job. Right now, actually, my main job is to focus on the Flutter development in the China market, and I'm also responsible for Flutter usage in the near regions, like in Singapore or in Malaysia. Yeah. So basically, it's like I'm gonna connecting with big companies, like small companies who is using Flutter, and I will provide some technical support, and I will connect them with the Flutter engineering team. So if they have any issues or they're facing any difficulties, I'm here to help.
Well, what kind of help can you actually give to people?
Actually, normally it's like technical support. If they have maybe Flutter integration issues, I can help them debug and help them to tackle that difficult.
Can you be more specific, like what kinds of things that would be? Like you said, integration issues?
Let's give an example, like the package size, So sometimes the package size is too big for your application to be released, or their thing is too big for the user to download. So at this point, they will reach out to me and I will give them instructions to do the certain procedures or customization to reduce the package size. And for this reason, their app size or their user experience will be better.
Specifically app size, right? Is that actually a big problem for people making Flutter apps?
I think that's not a very big problem because normally the Flutter app size is not that big, but if you're doing a giant app, at this moment, the app size will be essential to the developer team. So at this point, they will do some customizations to remove the unnecessary parts on the framework. But it's not a really big issues in certain apps. Only certain apps have this kind of issues.
Well, what kind of apps would have this kind of issue? Is it about like people that need to download the app that are maybe in a place with that much data signal, or what do you mean?
For example, it's like because if you are releasing an app, will be popular in the South America or in Africa, right? So at this point in their region, the Wi-Fi speed and their phone version is relatively low. So at this point, app size will be important for the users and their regions.
Okay, so these kind of places with low bandwidth, right?
Yeah, low bandwidth and the certain the Android version is low and their phone model is lower.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about kind of the adoption of Flutter within China, because that's kind of our main episode, right? That's the main topic.
Yes.
I mean, China is kind of an interesting market because it's definitely different than traditional USA, Europe markets, right?
Yes, actually, I think in the Chinese market, right, the request and the updates are far more faster than in other regions. So at this point, they are required to be update new features or bug fixes in real time at this point. So I think this is the most significant difference in China compared with other regions.
Well, can you talk more about why is it that there's more updates within China compared to other regions then?
See, in my point of view, it's because China is a very developing market, and the competition in China market is very intense, I'd say. So you see, e-commerce app, the games app, they have the very competitive environment. So it's if you see a new feature or if you see a new trend, if you cannot update in time, your market share will be eaten by other companies. So at this point, they want to make a fast change, and they wish to get to the new point and grab the users as soon as possible.
But isn't that kind of the power of Flutter, is that you have that ability to make quick changes and make some very rapid changes with a little bit of code?
Yeah, exactly. This is why the Flutter is popular in China. This is one of the reasons, because Flutter has the ability to do application cross platforms and it's easy to update and maintain. This is kind of like the mid-layer requirement in the fast-changing environment.
So that's kind of been the power of Flutter, is really the fast that you can go very quickly. You can make instant changes, right?
Yes.
Is that like the major thing that Google's doing to try to sell the Chinese market to Flutter, is because of that reason, or is there also other reasons?
I think it's not just like the reason we try to sell Flutter in the China market is like, so Flutter is the open source framework, right? So its popularity and its ecosystem is actually contributing by most of the developers, right? So if the Flutter is good enough, people will naturally choose the Flutter to be their like first taking language to do their development.
Well, what I think is also interesting too is that you were telling me before that a lot of companies in China, they're not just like switching from native to Flutter, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can talk more about why is that? Because to us, like, I mean, we love Flutter, we love to work with it all the time. Of course, we want to be 100% within Flutter, but that's not the case within China, right?
Actually, how to say is like, actually it's not like in most of the cases, Actually, the Alibaba company, right? So it had an application called Xianyu, which right now is the largest second-hand trading application in China. It has millions of users, but it's almost totally built on the Flutter. Actually, Xianyu is the first big company to adopt Flutter in early 2019. So in this kind of case, because other projects like, as I say, like the Alibaba Mail or Seller, right? So they have actually I talked to them. They have a very giant team, and different teams has been responsible for different parts of the application. So as this kind of like the environment is hard for them to fully adopt Flutter. So because it will take too much memory resources and time. Actually, this is one of the reasons why some of the applications are not fully adopted Flutter.
Well, I'd like to touch more on that because we always hear that, okay, if you use something like Flutter, you should theoretically have less engineers because it's, like one platform you're kind of doing for, well, I mean, you're of course doing multiple platforms, but still most of the app is kind of, it's not really specific to a specific platform, right? So can you explain more about why that is, that they cannot like switch, like you said, because of the way the app is?
From my understanding, when I talk to them, so at first, the application on the native first, then they see the potential of the Flutter, so they're trying to translate some part of the application into the Flutter. But as the giant apps, so it's actually as a giant app like the Xianyu, right? So any small changes will impact like lots of users. So consider of this, they were trying to move it bit by bit. It's not a lot like the fast changing or will fully adopt Flutter, but this kind of case is only for the big apps. But for the small apps or medium size company, actually in this way, they can easily to adopt Flutter fully. I think this is not more about the technology part. It's more about the human resource and their time and maybe the impact of the users.
Okay, because I'm just thinking like, it, of course, it does take time to rewrite something, but we always been told that it's faster with Flutter and you can hit two platforms at the same time. This just seems to make more sense just to kind of work your way through it and start rewriting some of your app over time, no? And so to me, it just makes sense that over time, they would be transitioning their apps from native to Flutter. But you're saying it's also not the case because that would take just way too much resource to do, right?
But actually, it's not about the resource to do. Actually, there's like the very, very fun advice I get from from another companies. So at this point, so we're talking about the big companies, the tech giants, not like the small size companies or small companies, right? So at this point, like big companies, they have enough time, they have enough resource. So as you said, they have ability to fully adopt the Flutter. But sometimes it's not about the technical reasons, right? So if you are a member of the native team, right, and you have your colleagues, you have everything goes well in the native right now, but right now your boss told you have to adopt a Flutter. You give everything to the Flutter, right? So at this point, Flutter is a great framework to reduce time and human resource. So at this point, would you change to the Flutter? Maybe which may cause the cause headcount loss in your team and break the current project management state in the team. So it's not all about the technical reason. Actually, it's about the company decision and the team decision, right?
I also remember you gave me another reason, which is that it's not just about that part, but it's also about like sometimes with native code, it's actually faster than Flutter now.
Yeah, actually, in some certain points, so actually right now you know in Flutter they're like mixed programming. So at some point or some like maybe integration with Flutter with a native, at some point it's like the Flutter performance. I have to be honest, it's not as good as a native in certain area like the memory leak or like something other reasons. But yeah, so this kind of reasons will be still be the a little bit maybe one of the reasons for the big companies to fully adopt Flutter. But as you can see, so since Flutter released his first beta version in 2019, and right now it's about 2.16. So actually, all the performance of the Flutter is improving. So as you can see in the impeller on iOS is already released and according to the feedback we received, is tremendously improved the loading speed in iOS application. And I think in those time our Android we also released. So this will be still a great performance improvement on the Android version, Android phones. So I think with the time, because we have like the strong engineering team and we have like the powerful ecosystem, I think this kind of issue will be resolved in the future.
Okay, so you're saying the performance will definitely pick up where it is right now. It'll be much more faster than it is right now.
Yeah, so we are evolving. We are not going to be satisfied with what current is. We are continuing to get feedback from the community. We're continuing improving.
When you address the Chinese market, though, for the developers, right, how was that different than when you address, say, markets outside of China, right? Because you're located in Singapore. So even within Asia, how does Singapore differ with Chinese developers from China?
So how to say it's like, because even though I'm based on Singapore, but actually my main job is focused on the China market, right? So, but as I know, actually the current Flutter groups in Singapore is strong because Singapore is relatively a small country, but I checked their GDG events. Actually, they have multiple events with all kinds of technologies like the AI, data scientists. Yeah, I think Flutter is going well in the Singapore region.
But also China has a very strong developer market too now.
Yeah, actually, in September, we went to the Google I/O, has been hosted in Shanghai. And actually, I went there. So we have like the meetings with community, we have meetings with developers, we have like ask the feedback of the different types, like the platform toolkit. Actually, we get like the positive feedback from the developers and the community.
So this Google I/O event, was it only for Flutter?
No. The Google I/O is not just about Flutter. It's like the whole package of the Google technology update. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any Flutter specific events happening in China though?
So actually, there are lots of events in China because the GDG is responsible. So we have the community groups which called the GDG will be responsible for hosting different events of different technologies. So we have actually in China, I think, in last year we have like more than 20 or 30 events in different cities in China. Yeah. Because of the pandemic in the last 3 years, so actually the events is not as active as before. But after the pandemic, the events are resumed. Yeah, so actually the technical events of Flutter in China is a lot.
Well, what about like for React Native though? Like, because that's Flutter's adversary, right? It's enemy. How does the market look like that in China though?
Actually, I cannot say it's enemy with each other because Flutter is open source framework, right? So we're going to observe every contribution from different developers and community. So, but from my understanding and as the information I got, Flutter is about to get like how to say, it's like we have like the marketing share actually is increasing year by year. Flutter usage in China actually is increasing. So React Native is not about an enemy of Flutter. We both are trying to get better and serve our developers better.
Well, what about the usage of React Native versus Flutter? Because I often hear they're kind of like neck and neck. Sometimes I hear in React Native is ahead in usage. Sometimes I hear the other way of Flutter. In China, do you think they're about half-half, like they're about even, or is one a little bit used a little bit more than the other?
I don't have specific statistics, but at least I can say they are even in China. Actually, according to feedbacks I got from the developers, Flutter has better advantage in the performance because I think Flutter engine is big advantages compared to other cross-platform framework.
Yeah, I think so also. I always felt like it was much more performant from like the first time I started using it, so that kind of makes sense. But I know that React Native did make some changes in performance recently, but I haven't seen if it's actually been released and what's the difference, etc. But it'd be interesting to kind of see that.
Yeah, machine technology is not is a regular way to learn and enhance your technology power.
But I'm kind of curious about what else developers are saying in China. Like, are they asking for more specific features that are more required in China than maybe other markets?
Well, actually, I think it's not just in China because your podcast is also like the Europe and the American region. So I want to get a feedback from you, right? So in your knowledge, right? So how many platforms the Flutter developers usually use?
That's a good question. I think still majority of people are just developing for iOS, Android.
Actually, from my experience, I talk to like the big companies, right? Developers. I think in China also people, they are trying to cover all four platforms, iOS, Android, Mac OS, and the Windows. Actually, it's like the WeChat or WeCom. I think you know the WeChat because you live in Hong Kong, right? So WeChat has like the billions of like the users, but actually it's like all WeCom is like the business version of WeChat. They also serve lots of users, but they are trying to cover all four platforms in China. Yeah, I think this is one of the distinct needs from the China market. Is like they are trying to also trying to try Flutter in desktop side.
That's interesting because one of my employees, he actually left because we were doing a desktop app and he really wanted to do a mobile app instead. He said, "Why am I using Flutter for desktop?" And I'm thinking, well, what does it matter? I think desktop is more interesting than mobile because everybody uses Flutter for mobile. So why not use it for desktop? That seems like more fun.
Maybe it's give you more advantage when using Flutter.
I think so too, and because everybody uses it for mobile, so if you apply for another company and you say, "Hey, I also use it for web and desktop," I think that's more attractive. I want to hire that guy over somebody who uses it for mobile. But that's my thought.
Yeah.
You know, he thinks differently.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's kind of interesting because we've been using Flutter for desktop and web more than actual mobile recently, which is I thought it's kind of strange. But like, so basically everybody in my company, including me, is using Mac OS. But we just had a financial customer who wanted a trading app. We built it on Flutter, obviously, because it's got great performance. And for a lot of things that they want to use, they need something native. Well, none of us really know C# so well. We know Flutter very well. We know it's got great performance. And so we ended up building the app for Windows with it. But it's funny because we did all the development with Mac. And then we only bundled it up and sent it over to them at the end with for Windows. So it worked out great. Like basically 95 to 99% of the app is easily solved with just working on Mac. But there's just a couple of small issues on Windows that we had to solve. But once we solved that, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So I'm super happy. Like I've always attracted to try to build a native desktop app, and now I can do it. And it's great that I could use something that I know already, and it's got great performance, and I can build it on Mac, and I can export to Windows or Linux even, or whatever I want.
There's another thing I can tell you, like the multi-view is a very important feature in the desktop development. Actually, we are trying to now we're in the progress of releasing the important feature of multiple views in desktop. And that's a very good news for the desktop developers.
Sorry, what was that you're trying to release?
The multiple view on desktop.
That's actually a feature that I got asked for from the training company because they have basically screens. So they want to be able to split up pieces on different screens. But I told them it's not
Yes,
possible,
yes.
but we can maybe try next time. There's a lot of people making hacks
Yeah,
for that, actually.
yes. Actually, actually, right now you can check the progress of these features, and I think you'll be surprised.
Is that actually something in beta right now that we can try, or?
I think right now there's a beta version, a demo with limited requirements for you to build. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just doing some Google searching right now, but I don't see it. I'll preview multiple windows on desktop back in January.
Yeah.
That would be quite exciting. Yeah, because I know a couple of other people, they managed to hack something with multiple processes and spawning or something. I forgot how they got to work.
Yeah, so actually, it's like product engineering team is always like the focus on the community needs to improve our Flutter framework to meet the developers' more needed features.
Are desktop apps actually somewhat popular within China? Because if you think about it, most people are on their phone. I mean, it's a very phone-focused market within China when I'm there, because it's like everybody uses their WeChat and Bilibili and everything. So I don't think people are really at their computer so much, no?
I know phone is big, important part of the daily life, but desktop is also like actually is one platform you cannot give up, right? So you cannot leave live with anything on the mobile side. So when you get up work, when you get home, you also need to use the desktop to maybe to entertainment or do a job. So I think for the companies in China, right, they try to cover all the platforms. They do not want to give up any market share for different platforms. And I think for company, right, because Flutter's one of the Flutter's biggest advantage is cross-platform. So if Flutter has the ability to build the desktop app, why not try it?
Yeah, I think so too. But sometimes it doesn't work so well, right? I had a couple of plugins that just don't really work, and I don't really know why. Like they get some really weird errors that I don't know how to solve. So I kind of have to go back over them at that point.
Yeah, so actually it's like for most of the developers that feel me like the issues the first. So actually the suggestion I give to them first is to find the GitHub issues, because if these are existing issues, actually normally you will find the answers or resolution for that. But if there's some really issues around infra team trying to improve, so I think at the time, I think you need to right now find an alternative way, or when waiting for the Flutter team to solve the problem and release a new version of Flutter.
The Flutter team is quite small, right? So should we also try to submit fixes if we can, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I think that's the beauty of the open source framework, right? If an open source community wants to survive, it's very important to observe the contributions of every developer's contribution. Yeah. Actually, if you find an issue, if you find a bug, you can actually, I strongly suggest you to find an issue and submit your own PR.
Okay. One thing I did find when I looked at some markets within China, right, is that there's some specific resources only for within China. Is that still the case for Dart and Flutter?
So what do you mean specific resources for China market?
Well, if you take a look, right, there's something called flutter.cn. Have you seen that before?
Yeah, I know that. Yes.
So what is this exactly? Is this the Flutter website specifically made for the China market, or what is this?
No, actually, it's not a official website of the Flutter team. Actually, it's like the contribution of the community. They translate the Flutter documentation for the Chinese viewers, Chinese developers to learn about easily. Actually, if you can find, there's not only flutter.cn, there's flutter.korea, there's flutter.korea, flutter.japanese. They are main website with different languages for the the regional developers to learn. It's not only for China.
But isn't there also some like Dart package mirrors and things like that that are made for China market?
Yeah, I think because of the connection, because the China website or China like online environment is not directly connected with outside. So I think that's a necessary step for the Chinese developers to use Flutter.
Is there any like official resources that you think that Chinese developers should be looking at as opposed to like the official documentation because of the language issue? Like you said, there's this flutter.cn. Is that actually a good source for people to pick up how to learn Flutter through flutter.cn?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good way to pick up the Flutter because it's using the native language of the Chinese developers. And I think there are also other resources we can look at because I think in Google China, I can't remember the exact name because in Google, we also have like the Chinese website with Chinese translated. So I think because we have like also like the GDG, is a WeChat official account. You can also to get the latest like maybe other Flutter updates in these articles. And also we have like the GDDs of Flutter. So they will constantly publish new languages or new updates of Flutter. We can also look at them.
You said that there's a Google China. Did I hear you say that correctly?
Yeah, I think there's a WeChat account in Google China. Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Because I was trying to look for the Google China website, but it seems they don't have that anymore.
No, I think it's like the WeChat official account. It's called, but it's in Chinese. It's called Google Developer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can look at that one. Yeah. But it's in Chinese. Maybe you cannot find it in English.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious because, Google kind of officially pulled out of China quite a few years ago. So I was kind of curious about how much support they're giving to Chinese developers at the moment.
And so it's like, for our topic, right? So Flutter is an open source technology, right? There's nothing attached to it. So we only focus on the technology. Yeah. I think there's no other issues with that. And Flutter as a framework, we know, so we are not only serve Chinese developers. We serve the developers from all over the world, and we get a contribution from all over the world. So I think Flutter, Google is still confident in developing Flutter. So I think Flutter developers shouldn't worry about maybe Google give up on Flutter. I think that's not the case.
Yeah, I can see that. I would like to talk about some of the interesting projects being done within Flutter, within China. I mean, you said, did you actually manage to reach out to a couple of companies to talk about their use of Flutter?
Yes, actually, I can tell you the Alibaba, the Tencent, and maybe I think Shein. Shein is a very popular company. Yeah, Shein is also using the Flutter. Actually, they're using Flutter in different areas like e-commerce and like in the traveling or in the communication or in the game even, or even games.
Isn't there a PUBG game using Flutter?
Yeah, actually the Tencent PUBG, PUBG, they are using the Flutter to build a module of the game. Actually, you can find it in the Flutter Showcase program.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about why they decided to use Flutter for that, because I would have thought that they would have done everything within like Unity or something like that.
In a PUBG, right? So the module built on Flutter is a community, a module. I think in this part, you are not involved in the game engine. Yeah, so actually it's a module developed by the Flutter and it allows the users to interact with each other, to comment or post, to audio communication, to video communication, something like that. But in this specific case, we are not involved in the game engine. But also, if you want to develop games in Flutter, you can also check the Flutter casual game toolkit. Actually, this is a toolkit that was published in last year for the Flutter developers to build games.
But Tencent has quite a few different apps within Flutter, no?
Yes. Actually, they have like the multiple projects, as I mentioned, the WeCom, the WeChat, the PUBG, and also the Tencent Cloud SDK. They have like several projects using Flutter. Actually, they are, for example, like the WeCom and Tencent Cloud, they can across 4 platforms. to using the Flutter.
But you said Tencent's using it also for WeChat?
Yeah, some parts of the application is using the WeChat.
Which parts of the app is using WeChat? Because WeChat's probably one of the most popular chatting apps around the world, right?
Yes, from the last time I know, right? So in the Android WeChat music player module in the WeChat, actually they are using Flutter to build it.
Really? But only on
Yeah.
Android, you're saying?
And actually, I think for now it's only on the Android version of WeChat. But actually, if you check the WeCom, which is the WeChat business before, is also a business version of the WeChat. So I think you know this because actually in this application they have like multiple modules using Flutter. Actually, I have some information from them for the Flutter in the WeCom because like we have like the news feed, we have like the audio and the video, and we also have like the documents, and we have like the micro disk. We also have like a small black board. These modules are all using Flutter.
That's quite a lot of features, I think. And it's just like adding on to their existing natives app, right?
Yes, because they are giant apps. There's no way for them to fully adopt the Flutter in the current situation.
What about ByteDance? People may not know who is ByteDance, but ByteDance also works on TikTok, right?
I think because the ByteDance right now, actually they have been like the pause the investing of Flutter right now. Because I think because first of all there's some like policy issues, and there's also some like because of the economic issues. So right now, I think for now actually have been paused investing of Flutter. Yeah.
Oh, that's a little bit sad to hear that.
Yeah, but actually, I think there's still like the opportunity in the future. We can still together on Flutter. Yeah. Because I think they're still interested in the Flutter, but because of like the certain reasons, they cannot use it right now.
Okay. What other companies besides what's on the showcase are using Flutter that you can talk about?
I think because you live in Hong Kong, in China, I think you know the mini program features, maybe in the different applications, the mini program.
Okay. Yeah, the like the WeChat mini programs, right?
Yes, actually, I think there's a very interesting framework which is contributed by the community. Actually, you can use the Flutter to build mini programs in different the super applications like the WeChat, like the maybe Meituan. Yeah, I think they have a framework called MP Flutter, or another one called Thinkly that you can check out. And actually, another thing I want to mention is about the Chinese community. You know the DIO, which is a very famous actually network package used by the millions of the Flutter developers. Previously, the maintenance of the deal hasn't been updating for a long time, and there's actually right now another Flutter group has been taking over and continue maintaining and updating this deal package. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. It looks like this is the flutter.cn group. They're the one who's working on the deal, right?
Yes, actually the group which also our GDE, you can remember that. So they're still working on the deal and improves the package quality.
Yeah, is there actually any Flutter experts within mainland China?
Yeah, I think they are. Right now we have like the 5 like GDE of Flutter in China, which is the X, one is Alex, one is another Shu Guo, and then we have like another GDE called Hammer. Actually, they are responsible for the different. Actually, they are doing different things to improve and promoting Flutter. Actually, they write articles that update the new features of Flutter, and they also to create and maintain the packaging. Yeah. Actually, right now they're quite active to do that.
Well, you have nobody within Hong Kong, I think, though, right?
Unfortunately, I think for now there's no GDP in Hong Kong, but I super encourage the developer to try to get a GDE interview.
Or you can introduce me that maybe.
Yeah, I'm glad to that. I'm glad I can do that. Yeah, if you want to.
Yes, because maybe you have the Guanxi, right?
I think in this way we have like the standard procedures to do that, right? We need to get an appointment, get the interview, and if other GDE can recognize your effort and achievement on Flutter, you will naturally get a GDE, become a GDE of Flutter. Yeah, I think we can. I think you can try that. Yeah.
That sounds good. How do you see the future of Flutter within mainland China? Do you see it growing, right? Because right now it is growing. So do you imagine it's going to be even more and more every year?
Yeah, actually, I am confident. I'm confident in the Flutter development in China because so I have been at several events in China this year. Actually, I got like quite positive feedback on the Flutter, because it's not only about the new features of the Flutter, it's also about the confidence of developers in Flutter. It's like because of the pandemic issues, right? So the Flutter voice in China has been down for a while, but after the pandemic, we have been restored the new events. We have been promoting Flutter in different ways. Actually, right now the confidence of the developers in Flutter has been raised. So actually, it's like I'm quite positive about the Flutter in China.
Is there like something that's specifically with using Flutter in China that most developers are looking for?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you mentioned about the multi-window support within desktop. Is there any other like features that developers saying once we have that, then we're going to be super happy? This is really great for us within China to use.
I think if this feature is not only very needed in China, it also needed around the world. It's like the hot could push up features. Yeah, but actually because of the policy and the security issues for now, actually right now we cannot provide the users the solution to do that. I think it's not about something we cannot do, we cannot achieve. It's about the security issues and the policies. Actually, if you want the application to be secure, I think we better to do it in a standard way to release applications. I think this is one of the most wanted features in recent years, but I think for the security, we have to strictly follow the store policy. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know people like in Shorebird are working on this, right?
I think so. Actually, there are several companies. Actually, they are doing their own version of code push. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if you want to do that, you have to take the risk. I think you need to take that in consideration.
There's no reward without a risk, right?
But you need to level it. You need to level the add-ons and pickups. Because if you want to do something, but if your application is banned from the store, then what to do?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so I think the correct way is to follow the policy rules. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think we have a good, like, well-rounded update about how Flutter's being used within China market, right? Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to let us know about Flutter being used within the China market that maybe we didn't get to cover?
So in China, it's a fast-changing environment. Actually, it's like we need to do a lot. We need to do the work faster. I think that's one of the requirement of the environment. Another thing I want to say is because of the contribution of the Chinese developers, so we have like a lot of like the new important feedbacks from the developers and our like the top clients, the clients. So actually, I very appreciate their effort to file the issues and contribution to the Flutter. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
You're saying that they file a lot of issues? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, actually, it's like because there's some feedbacks. They actually have 5 issues of the Flutter, right? So different companies will have their own version. Different companies, right? So they have like been encountering a lot of like the issues or difficulties in developing. So I think that 5 issues are also there's some PRs, which is a good way to have other developers who may encounter the same issues. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean. I do once in a while to see like issues reported by a Chinese person. You could tell because usually they reply by email and you can see the Chinese characters within the reply. So it's quite interesting to see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mabin, it was great to have you on, and it's good to hear from you. And hopefully, we'll
Yeah.
see you sometime soon because you're just in Singapore. You know, I'm in Hong Kong. So if you ever make your way this way,
Yeah.
I make my way to Singapore.
Yeah, it's very near.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of sure. Yeah. Thanks for claiming in this podcast. Yeah, it's very nice.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. Hopefully, I'll have you again in the future.